Trying to make money on OnlyFans can feel like running on a treadmill. Constantly moving, constantly working, but never actually getting anywhere. That's why it's so easy for creators to lose motivation when they don't have a clear path or clear direction towards what they should be doing. And for Jess, it was no different. Only 6 months ago, she was trying absolutely everything, spending countless hours trying to get any kind of result for her OnlyFans, but nothing worked. Until something switched. She started making the right decisions to make real money. And as of last week, Jess is now a millionaire because of OnlyFans. So in this video, I'm going to show you exactly the decisions Jess made to now become a millionaire so you can do the same thing. So when we start talking about making $1 million on OF, it's important to understand what that actually looks like. So what $1 million looks like on OnlyFans. So if we want to make $1 million over a month's time, that means we want to be consistently doing 85K a month. So 85K a month for 12 months will get us $1 million. And I'm talking American dollars here. So when you look at your statistics or your statement on OnlyFans and it says you're on the top X percentage, what percentage do you need to be in to reach this number? So the thing is, with these numbers, they change every so often depending on how many creators are on the platform and X, Y, and Z. But for the most part, these are as accurate as it's going to get. If you're in the top 3%, you should be making around 6K. If you're in the top 1%, you should be making around 20K a month. If you're in the top 0.1%, you should be making around 80K a month. And that's pretty spot on to the number we want, right? So that means depending on where you're at now, you want to be at the top 0.1% of all creators, making around 80K a month consistently for 12 months. It's also important to note that something like 73% of the platform's earnings is made by the top 10% of creators. So only a tenth of the 6 million or so creators on the platform are making up the majority of the money on there. So you need to become a top tier earner, a top tier creator to really start making some money. And it shows here, you need to be in the top 0.1% to make $1 million. But how do we get there? Step one is setting expectations. And I know I say this all the time, but it's really, really important. It's the first thing you have to do. If you're really serious about making $1 million on OF, you need to set your expectations. Because if you dive into this headfirst with no idea of how things work, you're going to lose motivation, you're going to burn out, you're going to ultimately quit and not make that $1 million that we're talking about, right? And that's what we want to do. So we want to set our expectations first. You need to understand what it takes to grow on these platforms, what it takes for these biggest creators to make millions of dollars. And I know it's easy from an outside perspective to see them and think, oh, it must be so easy. What they're doing, I could do that easily, but it's not. In 2025, especially coming up to 2026 now, there are so many creators joining the platform every single day and you have to compete with them. Not only them, you have to compete with the people that are already on the platform doing crazy things. OnlyFans isn't just a side hustle anymore. It's not an easy way to make money for creators anymore. There are full teams and systems and strategies, countless hours spent around growing on OnlyFans. It's not easy, it's not low competition anymore. It's a really hard industry that you have to compete with. And if you want to grow, you need to understand that that's what it takes. So first thing you got to understand is it's not easy anymore. OnlyFans isn't about just posting a few TikToks. You've got to have a real strategy behind what you do, and it takes time and effort. If we want to make $1 million a month, we can get there if you want, but if you want to make $1 million in a year, it's not a side hustle anymore. If you've got a full-time job, if you've got multiple full-time jobs, that's great, but we both can agree that once you start getting to 5, 6, 7, 10K a month, it's time to put them to the side. If you want to be doing OnlyFans full-time and that's all you want to do, make $1 million on OnlyFans and that's it, you can't have it as a side hustle. You can't be working in another job. You need to be putting all your time and energy into OnlyFans. So it's not a side hustle anymore. I understand at the lower levels, a few K a month, obviously you want to still be working, but when you start making enough money to leave those jobs and go all in on OnlyFans, that's what you should be doing. 8 hours a week. Can I just do 8 hours a week of work? No. Even Ari, one of the most successful, most well-known creators, said herself she works 40 hours a week. That's the same as a full-time job, and it's OnlyFans, right? The whole stigma of OnlyFans being no work and super easy goes out the window now. Because a creator like her who does amazing things and has done really well for herself is saying she works 40 hours a week, right? So it's not 8 hours a week. It's a full-time job. It's a lot of hours. It's a lot of work and it's a lot of time. But if you can set the expectation and understand that that's what's required of you, when you start setting up the systems and your strategy, you'll be so ready to go. So let's get into that. All right, time for the strategy. Step 2, what is your traffic source? There's heaps of traffic sources out there that are good for different scenarios and different creators, but there's only really a handful worth considering. And even amongst that handful, there are some that are much better than others. But I'll let you make that decision. I'm gonna rank them worst to best and give you a bit of information so you can make your own informed decision. Ultimately though, you'll wanna choose the best one. So our worst traffic method is guaranteed gains, shout out for shout outs, any kind of shout outs or promo of that nature. And there's a few reasons for this, but In 2025, shoutouts, guaranteed gains are dead. There's no way to make real money doing those. If you're going to use it as like a complementary traffic method, by all means, great idea. Like if you're running it, Reddit, Instagram, TikTok, whatever it may be, and you do a shout out here and there, that's great, perfect. But if you're using shout outs or guaranteed gains as your only traffic method, what are you doing? There's no way to make money like that. With a shout out or anything of that nature, you get subscribers for a day, maybe 2 days, and then you're back to square one. You're back to getting 0 subs. So that means you either have to shout someone out to do a shout out for shout out, or you have to pay for a promo every day or every second day, which is just, there's no benefit in that. Because not only are you paying every single day to get subscribers, but you need to think about the quality of subscriber you'd be getting from this. If you're getting put onto like an OnlyFans shout out page, or you're getting shout outed, I guess, on another OnlyFans account, the sort of people you're attracting are chronic OnlyFans subscribers. Well, that's what I call them. The sort of people that are subscribed to hundreds of OnlyFans creators. They spend a little bit of money and then they leave. They go hop on to the next person. They treat OnlyFans like a porn site. So they just jump between creator to creator to creator, but they're not there to build a connection, get to know you. They don't have any interest in you and your personality. So they're not going to be connected. They're not going to want to spend more money. They're not going to want to spoil you and all that sort of stuff that the die-hard fans do. You're never going to get a die-hard fan like this. You're going to get someone that comes on, spends a little bit of money and leaves. And you're going to have to do that every single day. Like I said, if you're going to do it with another traffic method, that's great, but on its own, by far the worst. Now, the next one, which might be a little bit controversial, is dating apps. DA. A lot of agencies will hate me for saying this because they are convinced that dating apps still work in 2025. They're just a heap of shit. Dating apps are so outdated. Years ago, there were agencies killing with dating apps, doing super well. And I specifically say agencies doing well because it takes a lot of time, effort, and money, and VAs and resources and all this sort of stuff to do dating apps. So there weren't many models doing it solo. It wouldn't make sense for them to. But there were a lot of agencies that had teams doing really well with dating apps. But these days, it's nearly impossible to do. But think about it. If you, to succeed on dating apps, the whole premise was you make 20 or 30 dating app profiles, you funnel everyone from Tinder, for example, over to your Instagram or over to Telegram or to Snapchat, whatever, and then you get them from there to OF, right? It sounds like it makes sense because people are on dating apps to have, a relationship or whatever, do other stuff. But the point is, you'd think it's a good place for it. But Tinder or Bumble or Hinge or whatever are multi-billion-dollar companies. They are massive, massive companies, especially when it comes to like relationships and all the stuff you see in the news about people getting scammed on dating apps. Their cybersecurity would be multi-million-dollar teams. Some nerd in his mum's spare bedroom isn't going to outsmart Tinder. Maybe for a week, you might find a loophole that everyone abuses for a week, and then it's patched and you're back to square one. That's the thing with dating apps. You'd find something that would work really, really well for a week, then you've got to start all over again. Because the probably hundreds of millions of dollars cybersecurity team on Tinder is obviously going to outsmart the nerd in his mum's spare bedroom. It doesn't make sense. Especially for a solo creator, it's way too much work on dating apps. I'm sure there are still people out there doing well with it, but they're not going to share that with you because as soon as things become public, a method becomes public, it gets patched. But even then, it's such a waste of time. You can get, it's better than when I was talking about the low quality subs, you would get high quality subs and you would get targeted people, which is great, but it's not great when the method dies every single week and you have to start all over again. Not to mention the amount of time, money, effort that has to go into it, thousands, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of dollars to do this kind of stuff. It's not worth it. Next one. Now, this is kind of a favorite one for me. Reddit and Twitter. I've put these together because the posting style is relatively the same. Like the content you make for Reddit, you can put on Twitter, and the content you make for Twitter, you can put on Reddit. So if you're going to do one, you may as well do the other. But the thing I love about these platforms is they're perfect for a solo creator. So someone that doesn't want to work with an agency, has no interest in having a team, just wants to do their own thing. Reddit and Twitter work amazingly. If you can really figure out these platforms and how to do them organically, you can do really, really well. But when it comes to scaling to a $85K a month or $1 million in a year, it's very difficult to do that on these platforms alone. That being said, it is possible and I have seen it. Even recently, Reddit has become harder and harder, Reddit specifically has become harder and harder to succeed on as an OnlyFans creator. They're constantly fighting against people with OF links and having safer work versus non-safer work subreddits. So it is getting harder just like almost every other traffic method. but it is still very viable for a lot of creators. Like I said, especially the ones that want to do things solo. With Twitter, it's a super simple platform. People are always talking about what's the new method, how do I get heaps of engagement on there? It's pretty simple. Like the method for Twitter hasn't really changed in the last few years. It's just about being consistent and knowing what to do, knowing how to create good quality content and engage your audience. But it's really simple. It's really easy to do. Reddit is a little bit more tricky, but like I said, if you're going to be a solo creator purely focused on these platforms and you really understand them, you can do quite well on there. But the issue for me is that it's really hard to get to that $1 million, which is what we want. There's a few reasons for this, one of them being that it takes a long amount of time to succeed on Reddit and Twitter. Because you're going to have an organic approach, it means posting every single day, multiple times per day, for months to actually finally build a fan base that then converts to OnlyFans. It's not about making an account and going viral overnight and getting thousands of subs. It doesn't work that way on these platforms. You need to be consistent and persistent for months. But the upside is that for a solo creator, the workload is pretty low. Like you can get by with 50 to 60 photos and 10 videos a week, which probably takes 2 hours to make, and you're good for both these platforms for a whole week. But like I said, you're never gonna go anywhere crazy with these platforms for one reason, the same reason that none of these platforms even compare to the number one, and that's that you're not able to show depth, personality. You can't show why you're unique, why you're special in a market of millions of OnlyFans creators. There's no way to do that in a photo or a 5-second video. So you need a platform that allows you to show depth and what makes you unique, allows you to stand out in the crowd. And the platforms that allow you to do that are the same ones that have built all the influencers, all the content creators, all those social media famous people in the last 5-10 years. That's Instagram and TikTok. All of the short form content platforms. That's our number one traffic method, which I would recommend you choose. Instagram and TikTok is the best method to become a millionaire on OnlyFans in 2025 and every other year to come in the future. I mean, to be completely honest, I think Instagram and TikTok is the best method to become a millionaire in any industry. I mean, look around. Look at day traders, freelance brand scalers, PTs, travel influencers, hair and makeup influencers, dancers. Anyone that has Instagram and TikTok dialed can monetize anything. Now, when we're monetizing OnlyFans, it just becomes a superpower because that is just a commodity everyone wants, right? So if we can use Instagram and TikTok the same way that all the influencers, all the marketers, all the content creators, all the celebrities have used to market an OnlyFans, come on. That is our best method because we can do the same thing that these influencers and content creators have done and showed why we're unique, show why we're our individual person that stands out from the crowd, show our personality, show our interests, show what makes us our authentic self. So even though you might have 1,000 other creators just one swipe away, you stand out. Even though they all look different, they all have different assets, they're all from different places, whatever, you still stand out because you've shown how you're unique on this platform. Actually, I know I just said that Instagram and TikTok is by far the best platform, and it is, but the downside of these platforms is that it requires the most amount of work, by far. And that's not just for OnlyFans creators, that's for any content creator. If anything, I'd argue it's a bit easier for OnlyFans creators because like I said, for Reddit and Twitter, you need to be posting consistently every single day for months, even through the slow times, even through the bad times, you've got to push through and post consistently. Same thing goes for Instagram and TikTok, but whereas on Reddit, you're posting photos, which take a few seconds to make, Instagram and TikTok, the stuff you're posting takes so much more time and so much more effort. So you need to be willing to put in the hours throughout the week to create the content and get it out there. But like I said at the start, you've set your expectations. You're willing to put in that work, and this is where it's going to go. 99% of your work is going to be going into Instagram and TikTok. Step 3 is personal brand. Now I'm going to assume you chose the Instagram and TikTok method because that's the only way you're going to make $1 million. But now how do you stand out on these platforms? Because they are the most competitive. The only way to do that is a personal brand. Look at any kind of online social media coach, anyone that's successful on social media, all they talk about is personal brand, personal brand, personal brand. Everyone in any space that has any sort of success on social media these days has built a personal brand because for them, it doesn't matter who comes next, who's in the market, who they're competing with, it doesn't matter because no one is them. They've shown why they're unique, why they're different, what's special about them that no one else can compete with, and that helps them stand on their own pedestal. So the audience can only come to them for their content and can't go anywhere else. We want to do the same for you. Think about it like this. If there was a guy that wants to copy Mr. Beast's content and do things the exact same way as Mr. Beast, everyone's going to look at him and think he's a copy, he's a fake, because no one can be Mr. Beast better than he can. No one's going to beat Mr. Beast in a Mr. Beast contest. You know what I mean? Same with Ari, same with Anna Paul, same with Camilla. No one can be those creators better than they can because they've made a market of their own. They've shown why they're unique. And especially in OnlyFans, where every creator is just advised by their agency to copy this trend or copy this dance or do this boring video. Everyone does that. So when you're scrolling, you're constantly seeing the same post, the same content, but just a different person. So you're all competing on looks. But if you can create content that's unique and special to you, that's deeper than just a physical, you're going to blow the competition out of the water. The best way to figure out what you want your personal brand to be, because I know it's hard, is by closing your eyes and thinking. 3 years from now, what do I want my brand to look like? What do I want my social media presence to be? What sort of content do I make? What do I make content about? What do people associate me with? What do people know me for? What do I like? What do I want to talk about? And how can I make all of that sexy and exciting enough for fans to enjoy it and come across to my OnlyFans? That's how you're going to stand out, by finding your own personal, in-depth truths. Building a brand off that and creating content around it that is going to be sexy and exciting enough for the fans to be like, I want to see more, I want to know more about this person, and subscribe. That's how you build your brand, envisioning down the line and bringing it forward. Now, before we jump into the next step, it's important to note the reason we build a personal brand is to grow a die-hard audience behind that. An audience that's going to be spending crazy amounts of money strictly on you and never going anywhere else. Those are the fans we want, right? And the reason we build that personal brand is to cultivate more of them. So if you need more information on how to grow a personal brand to get that die-hard audience, I've got another video that you can check out. Now on to number 4, the marketing strategy. So we've got the personal brand, we know what we want to make our brand look like and all that sort of stuff, but we don't know how to put it out there and actually get the views. So the easy way to do it is asking yourself these 3 things. Number 1, is it on brand? So the way to do that is by writing down all the things you want to be on brand for you. So do you want to be, when you're envisioning your brand, do you want to be making cooking videos? Do you want to be wearing a cowgirl outfit? Do you want to have a southern accent? Do you want that to be your brand and that's what people know you for? Value. What value are you providing to the audience? Why should they bother engaging in your content? Are you showing them some kind of relationship? Are you being the cute girlfriend? Are you making them feel like warm and welcomed? Are you triggering them? Are you annoying them? Are you doing a jelly beans approach where you're pissing them off enough that they just can't stop watching and they just constantly engage, rage baiting them? Educational. Is your content educational? Is it teaching them something? Do they learn and enjoy what they're watching that way? Are you comedic? Are you being funny? Or are you just making them laugh? They enjoy coming to your videos because it's a fun time. And then what's the format? So you know what it's going to look like and what you're going to come across as. You know how you're going to provide the value, but what's the format? What is the videos actually going to be? Are you going to be doing skits? Is it going to be Omegle videos? Are they going to be Snapchat videos? POVs? Are they going to be in public? These are the questions you need to ask yourself. Once you've connected all the dots, then you've got your marketing strategy mixed with your personal brand and you're ready to go. Once you've got the answers to your questions, it's about finding the hybrid method that's going to work for you. So the right format for the right value for still being on brand. If you can figure that out, answer the questions all correctly and connect the dots, you can then start creating psychology-based content that's going to reach your audience on a deeper emotional level because you found the perfect way to stand out from the crowd and show your unique self. But it is really tricky to find the hybrid amongst all of these things. So if you are having a hard time with that, let me know and I'll send you through a step-by-step guide on exactly how we do it. But once you've got it all down, you need to figure out how we lay the videos out. And it's really easy. We know what we want our brand to be, we know what content we want to make and how we want to make it, but how do we turn this regular content into mega viral vehicles? Content that's going to go so viral that we get thousands of subscribers and millions of dollars, which is what we want, right? The way to do it is by creating content that stops everyone in their tracks and gets them to watch over and over again. Now, in a world where everyone's attention spans are so fried from scrolling TikTok and Instagram so rapidly, so often, you need to be capturing attention. I'm sure you've heard it before, having a strong hook in your videos is the most important part. The rest of the video doesn't matter if you can't catch their attention here. People are scrolling so fast, you've got about 1 to 3 seconds to get their attention. Even 3 seconds is too long. So you always need to have an emphasis on getting their attention in the beginning. If you can get their attention straight away, then you've beat the rest of the videos. Even think about it when you scroll, think about how many videos you skip. But as soon as you've stayed for 3 seconds, you're staying for 5, 6, 7, maybe 10 seconds, right? Or you watch the whole thing, great, perfect. It's all about hooking them in the very beginning. The way to do this is by pulling something into the shot, saying something crazy, having a crazy text on screen, revealing something, doing something that excites the audience enough that stands out from the rest of the stuff that they've been scrolling through. Anything that catches the audience's attention, anything that stands out. Now, not every video is going to have a body. That's just the middle part, the part that pulls them along the storyline, engages them deeper, shows them more of the content, gets them more involved, more, invested, that's the word. The last section is the reward. So having a strong reward at the end of your video is super, super crucial because platforms like Instagram, TikTok, YouTube Shorts, any of those benefit you, push your videos to more people if they watch all the way through, and especially if they watch again. Because in the platform's eyes, your video is keeping people on their platform longer. So they want to show it to more people to keep more people on their platform. So if you can have something at the end of the video that makes the audience feel like they've been rewarded, or they've got a reveal, or their time and effort has paid off for watching the whole video, then their platforms are going to push your videos to more people, especially if they rewatch. So building tension, hooking them in, building the tension, getting them invested, and rewarding them at the end is a great way to have that retention, have a high watch percentage, and get your video pushed to more people. But like I said, the most important part is the hook. So now we know what we want our brand to be, we know what content we want to make, how we're going to make it, and we know exactly how to structure the videos, but how many videos do we post? You want to think about it like this. There are, 2 billion people on Instagram. How many of them do you think want to go viral? I would say a lot of them, right? And how many of them do you think are OnlyFans creators that want to go viral, right? A lot of them. So your competition is very, very big. The best way to beat that competition is by brute force. Just putting as much content out there as possible, putting yourself in front of as many people's eyes as much as you can. You want to think about it like how Anna Paul and Michaela used to do on TikTok a few years ago. Do you remember how every time you'd open TikTok, they were constantly in front of you? They're always like new video in front of your face all the time. You just couldn't get away from Anna and Michaela. Or even these days with Camilla and Sophie Rain. They're always in front of you constantly. Every time you open TikTok, every time you open Instagram, someone's talking about them, their video pops up, they're just always there. That's because they're posting every single day, multiple times per day, forcing you to see their content because they're just flooding social media with it. You want to be doing the same thing. If you can be posting 3 to 5 times per day, not only will you flood your audience with it to a point where the viewers are constantly seeing you, they have to subscribe now because they've seen you so many times. You're also proving to Instagram and TikTok that you take their platform seriously. Because when they see someone that's posting multiple times consistently, they see that, okay, this person clearly puts a lot of time and effort in. They want to be a content creator. They want to bring eyes to our platform. They want to build an audience, which is beneficial for the platforms themselves. So let's push this creator more. If they're going to put in the effort and bring eyes to their account, we're going to want to push them more. Because why would Instagram and TikTok push someone that hardly posts, that hardly is consistent, that doesn't even care about bringing eyes to the platform? They're not going to. So if you can prove to the platform that you put the effort in and you want to bring attention to you and their platform, they're going to push you as well. So you want to be aiming to post 3 to 5 Reels/TikToks a day. I know it's a lot, but that's what's required. And when I say 3 to 5, I don't mean 3 to 5 shit pieces of content. It still needs to be 3 to 5 good Reels, good TikToks with a strong hook, a good reward, on brand, showing your personality, being in depth with your content. Don't just spam the feed for the sake of it. Sure, if you want to post, if you're posting 5 times a day and 1 or 2 of them every now and then is just kind of like a shit post, like a quick, easy video, that's fine. But if you're going to post 3 shit videos a day, you may as well post none. Do you know what I'm saying? Okay, cool. So you've got your marketing strategy. You know what content you want to make, what you want to make it about, how you're going to make it go viral, and you've got the subscribers coming in. So how do we turn these subscribers into the high spending fans that we want? So the sales strategy. The way we approach sales is making sure we can provide an experience to everyone, an experience as opposed to a service. And each fan is different, so the experience you provide them will be different, but ultimately, because the way that we market and the way you're going to be marketing, as long as we can bring the persona they saw on social media to life, every fan is going to be happy. Because you're marketing in a way that shows your unique self, your personality, your interests. If you can bring that personality that they saw on social media that stood out in the crowd to them, if you can bring that personality to life in the chats, in the feed, in the bio, in everything, you're going to bring in a high spending subscriber. So an important part of the sales strategy is bringing that personality to life. As opposed to seeing what other creators do and assuming what works on OnlyFans, Have an approach on OnlyFans the exact way that feels natural to you. Talk about what you want to talk about. Express how you want to express things. Post the way you want to post. Don't just over-sexualize and force things that you don't actually enjoy doing or doesn't feel right to you. Do things the way that would feel right for the brand you have on social media. Another really important part that whenever we get into an account we remove straight away is anything transactional. Anything that makes the account feel like a shop, that there's transactions to be had. So any tip menus, any pricing, any over-sexualized spam, anything like that. Removing that is super important for harboring good relationships with your fans, and it's going to help you out in the long run when it comes to sales. Now, the next thing to look at when we're talking about sales, which makes removing anything transactional plays a big part when we start talking about selling content. When we're selling content, the best thing to do is by creating content that feels live and taken in the moment, where you can share an experience with the subscriber. So content that feels like when you're talking to the fan, you've just picked the camera up and taken it there in the moment for them. Now, this whole concept is fairly well known by now, but I'm going to go over it quickly anyway. The way you want to create content for fans is a script, a sexing sequence, a drip set, whatever you want to call it. The type of content that, like I said, feels taken in the moment, but gets progressively longer, more explicit, and more expensive. So the way it would look is you're talking to a fan, you might send them a photo and you're in bed in pajamas. And they're like, oh, she's in bed, that's cute. I'd like to see more. Okay, cool. You send him a video that's 20 seconds. You're not showing anything yet, but you might lift your top up a little bit, but you haven't exposed anything. He gets a bit excited. Okay, where could this go? He's getting more turned on. You're clearly getting more turned on because you're showing more stuff. The next video is 45 seconds. You charge a little bit more for that. You show a little bit more. He's not got what he wants yet, but he still wants to see more. He wants to get to that big end reveal. So as the videos go on, you increase the length a little bit, you increase the price a little bit, and you increase the explicitity a little bit. So you're showing more, you're doing more, but you're charging more. So this can go on for 5, 6, 7 videos until you're charging $200 for a video and he gets the big reveal, the climax, the end. The benefit of this for the fan is that it felt like you were getting more and more turned on and more excited as they did at the exact same time. So the experience there is so much more enjoyable for the fan, especially when the content behind it is really good and well made. That fan will then enjoy that, happily spend $600, $700 and come back tomorrow and do it again. That's a diehard fan. But the issue is, it takes a lot of time and effort to do that with a lot of people, especially if you're doing the marketing right. Which brings me to a team. You need to be asking yourself, do you need a team? This will come down to how much time and effort and resources you're putting into the marketing and the OF. So let's look at a schedule for what you should be doing day to day to figure out, do you need a team? So I'm assuming throughout this video you've started to realize, okay, it's going to take a fair amount of work to make $1 million on OnlyFans, and I'm about to make it a bit worse. So if you're going to do everything by yourself, this is what a schedule would look like for you. Every single day you need to be chatting. The more chatting you can do each day, the better. But we're all human. I'm not going to expect you to do heaps. The amount I'm about to say will probably be quite a lot. I always recommend, if you're going to do things solo, chat for 4 hours a day, every day. And if you think about it like a normal full-time job, you usually work 8 hours a day. Try and help that put it into perspective that you're only doing 4 hours, but that's every day. So 4 hours of chatting every single day. Now next, how much content are we going to be posting each day? Now the benefit of posting content every day is you can schedule them, especially on Instagram. I wouldn't schedule it on TikTok, but it takes about 2 seconds to post. On Instagram, you can schedule your whole week once the content is made, so you don't really need to touch it. But every day you want to be posting, like we said, 3 to 5. So let's just say 5 posts on both. That's Instagram and TikTok, 5 on each, but you can just post the same stuff, depending on the guidelines. On Sunday, you're going to be scripting your social media content. So you're going to need 35 videos for the week. So you need to sit down for, I would say, 3 hours on a Sunday and script out every video idea throughout the week. So on Sunday, you're putting aside 3 hours of scripting, but that's all you need. Just on Sunday, that'll do you for the whole week. But then on Monday, do I have any more colors? Pink, I guess. On a Monday, you're going to spend about 8 hours creating the content. So 8 hours creating the social media content, creating content. So on a Monday, you're doing 4 hours of chatting and 8 hours of creating the content. and about 2 hours creating OnlyFans content on Tuesday. And that's pretty much it. If you want to be making $1 million on OF, you need to do all the things that I said in this video and follow this schedule consistently. So on a Sunday, you're spending about 3 hours scripting your social media content and about 4 hours chatting. So that's 7 hours for the day. Plus you need to post 5 times on Instagram and TikTok. On a Monday, you're spending 4 hours chatting again, posting 5 times on Instagram and TikTok, but you're also spending 8 hours creating the content for the rest of the week. Once it's made, you edit it, put it all together, and then you can schedule it so you're all good there. You don't actually have to manually post. On a Tuesday, 4 hours chatting again, but you're spending 2 hours creating your OnlyFans content for the whole week. 2 hours is really more than enough for creating OF content, but just to be safe. And then for the rest of the week, your scheduled posts are going off and you're chatting for 4 hours each day. Sounds like a lot, right? In total, this is a 41-hour work week, which is the same amount of time as a full-time job, but it can be very draining. So this is where you look at getting a team. I would always suggest the first thing you do is hire chatters, because as you can tell, 28 of the 41 hours is chatting. But it's important to have a chatting team that holds up your standards. And it's important to do it first, do it yourself before you hire a team. That way you know how to train and you know what your standards are so they can replicate it. But this is on the basis that you want to be doing things solo. Like I said at the start of this video, Jess went from earning absolutely no money to becoming a millionaire on OF in just 6 months. But the reason she found so much success so fast is because she was working with a very experienced, very professional team, our team. But if you want to be doing things solo, you won't be ready to build your own team until you've done the things I've said in this video. Set your expectations, found your traffic method, built a personal brand, got your marketing strategy, got your sales strategy, consistently posting every day, creating the content, chatting, your calendar is full like this. Once you're at this point, then you can start looking at your own team. And if you're at that point, you've done everything, your calendar's full, you're doing well on social media, and it's time for your own team, check out my business partners video. Lachlan creates by far the most valuable chatting specific content on the market right now for creators and agencies. So if you're ready for your own team and you want to expand, he's got all the information for you.